Hello everybody and welcome back to Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson, and today is a big day for us here at Crystal Cottage. Behind me you can see this big bushwork. This is all Japanese knotweed that needs to be eradicated from our garden completely. And the last many years we've managed to get rid of an awful lot of this Japanese knotweed in this area of our garden called the inner garden. And this is, and on the side here in this other bush I have going on over here, is the Japanese knotweed that has been left until we've had time to get our bonfire started to burn off as many of these stems as possible and smaller roots. And then we will collect the larger roots that we can't burn in the bonfire, put them in plastic bags and take them to the waste recycling facility where they will burn them for us. But these plants are highly invasive wherever they are. If you have them in your garden or on your land, you need to go and really get rid of this plant. Try and eradicate it as much as possible. The rest of the inner garden here is full of grass, and of course because we cut the grass many times and trim around the area, we managed to keep any Japanese knotweed that tries to come up cut back, and that is tiring out the plants, the remaining parts of roots and so forth that are left in the ground, so that the plants are really starting to fade away. And this is the last area. Now this piece of Japanese knotweed you see behind me here is 3 meters tall. It's been flowering right now, so we want to get in now, and today there's just a very slight breeze, so there's no worry about having a bonfire, and it's a very kind of humid condition today. It's kind of foggy, a little bit foggy, so it's a perfect day for us to get the bonfire going and burn off this Japanese knotweed. So basically I am just going to get on with this part of it. Yorkim is out on the other side starting up the bonfire, and he will work with burning off, and I will work with cutting back and digging up some of these roots to sort out this area. And then once this is done, I'm going to reorganize so that the pathway through to Westside Garden, you can see there the gap in between my Thuya occidentalis Brabant bushes there. I'll be filling that up with more Thuya bushes and opening up a pathway on the back side so that we can keep this area clear of Japanese knotweed, and I can have a border of different kind of bushing plants on the edge of our land going into the neighbour's field. And at the moment in Westside Garden I've planted out a lot of different plants that have different types of thorns on them, so they're all spiky plants to stop any deer and so forth being able to easily get into the garden. And at the same time they're all plants that get flowers and beautiful either orange or red berries, and they are just wonderful. So the combination together should be fantastic. So basically I'm going to get on now with cutting down this Japanese knotweed to get rid of it. Just look how big they are. So I need to go in now and cut the bottom off these stems so that I can put the big root balls in a plastic bag. Another satisfying moment getting this done at last, and knowing we'll have a beautiful new area to redesign and make wonderful. I just want to show you some of the roots are very big, and you can see here this one is all split up, and that means any parts that are left in the ground can grow into new plants, so you really have to be careful when you do this. And all these need to go and be burnt off. There is so much energy in this root ball for this plant to grow out huge again next year. This was one of those that was 3 meters tall. So this area is going to have to be trimmed and trimmed and trimmed and all sorts for a long time to get every little bit out. But getting these large pieces out is a good start. I just want to say that even though this Japanese knotweed has been here for many years, it hasn't spread anywhere else in our garden. It's just stayed in this area, so it's not been that bad. So it's already starting to look better here, isn't it? All of these big, tall stalks cut down that are going to be burnt off now. I have a pile of big roots, and I'm now discovering I have this other bush in here. I really will need to keep this area flat to be able to go in and trim the area. I know that this is not going to be completed just because everything's disappeared from above ground here. I know there will be a lot of stems coming up next year, but I know with trimming they will disappear with time. The big balls of roots are the ones that need to come up. They are the most powerful roots. So now all the larger parts of the Japanese knotweed are down, and I am actually in the side of the garden here now because I need to cut back our snowberry bush here, Carpus albus, and I want to keep this bush. This is a really nice bush to have out on the edge here towards our neighbour's field. I have to cut this bush back because there is Japanese knotweed growing up in between the stems of this plant. So I am cutting down the front part of the bush right down so that it can regrow out fresh and new next season, and I'll be able to go in and chop down any pieces of Japanese knotweed that come up in between in the meantime until they get tied out and die off. The ones at the back I'm going to keep up higher. I'll just trim off the top because I want to have a barrier so that the deer don't get into the garden as easy all the way down the perimeter of our garden. So I'm just going to get on with that, and this will rejuvenate a lovely new bush next year. More snipping. So let's have a little closer look to show the process of what's going on. Now the sun is going around from the south here towards the west, so it might be a bit hard to see, so I'll have to go the other way around in a moment, but I just want to show you the edge here. This is all of the snowberry bush that I want to keep without Japanese knotweed growing up in between it, but that shows that this is a plant that can cope with the Japanese knotweed. We know that the Japanese knotweed has chemicals that kills off other plants that grow in its vicinity, but this plant is working. So I've put a wooden border here for now to show where those plants are and where I want to keep them, and these snowberry bushes were growing in a line kind of into the garden, and I've decided to keep those as well. So I've put a wooden border around those, and the soil here is very, very good. I mean, it's a thick layer of mulch, which is very good. And I've piled that up in under these snowberry bushes. They won't mind that. These plants are so hardy that it will be perfect for them. So if we go behind the downy birch tree here, we can see the back side. I just need to finish off putting some more border around the edge there. And then that's the snowberry bushes looking wonderful. And you can see the border along here. And what I'm thinking of planting along the edge all the way around are geraniums, so that we'll have flowers coming out and it will make border look like it has purpose and structure. And these will bush out again and look wonderful next summer. So here, this is the last canes from the Japanese knotweed that need to be taken around to the fireplace. And here we have some bags with roots, which we need to sort out. We need to buy some more plastic bags because these are too full up. And there's another pile here of roots that need to be sorted and put into plastic bags. So all of those, we can't put those on the bonfire, there's too much soil, so they need to be taken to the waste recycling facility to be burnt off there. But all of these canes here, we can just go and put those on the bonfire in a moment. So that's the process, and I've already raked out the soil here so it's flatter, and I'm just going to throw a load of grass seeds on this and let them grow out and be like the rest of the inner garden. So you can see here, now all of this area was full of Japanese knotweed. So here I've just plotted in a few photos from when we first bought the cottage. This is in late September 2015, and you can see where the Japanese knotweed was growing right in front of the annex. And we've done the same process of pulling up the roots, burning everything off, taking away, and trimming and cutting the grass, and that has tired out the Japanese knotweed over on this side. There are a few stragglers that do come up every year, of course, but it's getting less and less, and now we have grass. This was completely Japanese knotweed all the way up to this table when this cottage was bought 6 years ago and around the corner. So I'm really, really pleased that we now have a greener area here, and the new pathway into the inner garden is going to be between the downy birch here and the border, and that's why I've decided to keep these bushes as well, because that will line the border through the back. And I'm going to remove the one thuya, you can see the second from last. That is going to be the pathway out to Westside Garden, and I will be planting that here in this hole here, and that will give me a whole stretch, a whole side here to decide what I want to do. For now I have a little plastic kind of greenhouse that I want to put here to be able to put plants and things like that in. This downy birch here is going to be removed, and that's been the plan all along, and that is why I've planted the Scotch pine behind, which is coming up beautifully, which is right behind the, or in front here of the Thuya Brabant, and removing this downy birch here will give us an extra 2 meters of space to work with in here, so that's really important. And we have this downy birch here, and we have many more crystal wood at the back of Westside Garden and in the botanical garden and all over, so we have many of them. So I'm afraid we're going to have to sacrifice this one here, but as I said, I have another tree coming up to take its place, and then the beautiful green backdrop. So imagine the pathway here through, and this thuya gone, so that will give this downy birch meaning and the border meaning, and with geraniums around the bottom that will flower and so forth, that will also make it look like it's beautiful. And I'm actually going to put a stone border around this and along the edge, undulating so it's not a straight line, so that there is a character border here. So basically that's how it's going, and I need to carry on now. So here you can see we're in Bonfire Garden, and all of the Japanese knotweed is being burnt off here a little bit at a time to keep the flames going, keep it low. And we've got rid of a lot already, so it's going really well. So perfect having the bonfire going and getting this done. So now I've had to move the camera to another angle because the sun is going around, as I said, down towards the west over there, and it's reflecting into the camera. So now you'll get a side view, and you can see the whole border that has been cleared out, and it's looking really good already. I'm just going to spread out the soil just a little bit more, throw down a load of grass seeds on the area. Yes, I know it's October and it doesn't matter. I've done this in Silverway and they come up by themselves. And if they come up already this year, perfect. If they lay dormant until next spring, it doesn't matter. As long as I know that the grass is going to come up, because then we'll go and clip and trim the grass at the same time as any shoots that will come up from the Japanese knotweed. And then we can just keep them down and tied out, but not have to look at a brown, muddy patch here in the meantime. So this will quickly green out and look like it's always been like this. And I actually really like that this downy birch trunk has space. It's really beautiful, and I'm going to put a lovely stone border around all the way down, connecting to the border with my laurel bushes in, and it's all just going to look lovely. And before we know it, we won't remember that we had Japanese knotweed here. So now I have 2 more plastic bags to put more of the large roots in that we can take away. So that is all of the big roots gone. Now I want to move the stems and get this garden area looking nice. So now even all the large canes are gone, and all I have to do is scrape together all the last loose bits on the ground even out the bit of soil, throw down the grass seeds, and a whole new garden area has been designed, just like that. And while I'm at it, have you noticed the beautiful yellow leaves on this populous tremula tree? The beautiful aspen. And you can see I'm using the wrong tool for this. This metal rake is for in the borders, in the soil and so forth. On the grass, I really need a plastic one so it can easily scrape up everything without fastening itself into the soil. So I'm actually going to go and get my plastic one to make life easier for me.
Oh, this is just so satisfying.
So that's all the rubbish up now. So I'm just going to go and drive that away, and then I'm just going to rake out the ground, put the grass seeds down, and I'll be done. Now the fun part, I've got myself a whole big bag of grass seeds here, and I'm just going to spread them out and let them do their thing, let nature take its course.
I just love spreading seeds.
So there we go, that was really satisfying. And just to let you know, this is not because I want to make a nice flat lawn. This is my country garden. I like it a little bit rough and rugged. I like the ground uneven. It's fine. It's just for us to see greenery and to be able to come in and clip it or trim the grass. And so that I get greenness on the ground as quick as possible. So these are going to be fine. I've done this the same way in this whole inner garden. Nothing special. Took up the Japanese knotweed, spread out the soil, put the seeds down, and they grew up, and the grass is absolutely wonderful here. I will give you a quick pan around of everything in a moment so you can see exactly what I mean. So I know this is going to work, even though it's not like a perfect way to put down grass. As I said, this is just the way I do it. My grass is fine. I even let the dandelions grow and all the different other wild plants in my grass because I like that look. So now I am completely finished with everything for this part of organising the inner garden here. I have, of course, a lot of extra finishing touches I want to do, like putting stones, rocks around the edge of the border. I want to prune off the lowest branches on the aspen tree here to get some more light in under to the bush underneath. And of course I'm going to need to move one of the thea bushes and put it where I have my entrance now so I can make the new pathway into the west side garden there. That is going to be quite a big project. I'm going to have to cut a lot of roots off that big bush. It's been in the ground for 4 or 5 years, so we'll see how that goes and see if I can save it and put it in the new position. Otherwise I'll have to get a new one, but I'm going to do my best to save that one first. So now let me take you in for a closer look of everything that's happened. So let's walk into the inner garden and see exactly how it's looking now. I'm so happy about all the grass here that has grown, and you don't see any Japanese knotweed in this grass at the moment because we keep it trimmed. And the border, and my lovely Scotch pine, and then we come around to the new clean and tidied up area where the grass is going to grow out quickly, and I will have a lovely stone border here going all the way down the edge. And the snowberry bushes will bush out lovely without competition from the Japanese knotweed taking the light. They should be able to bush out lovely here. Seeing as they were already here, I might as well use them. This is all going to bush back because I've cut all the ones at the front down here down quite low, but they will come up and bush out easily in no time. And just to show you the sun, beautiful blue sky and the sun going down round there towards the west. So it's hard to see everything with the sun. And imagine when I have put stones all the way down to this border here with my laurel bushes in, and then into Island Garden. So this is going to be just wonderful. Look at the difference. All the Japanese knotweed finally gone, and we can enjoy the expanse of our inner garden here. And when that silver birch there has been chopped down, we can put a little temporary plastic greenhouse that I've bought up so I can have my cuttings and so forth in there next spring. And one can sit out on a half sunny day if it's a bit chilly, sit inside there and enjoy it. If the sun's out, why not? So this has just come out really, really well. And so simple and easy, not too much fuss. And yes, the Japanese knotweed will come up, but it's going to be completely manageable, because if all of this has been completely manageable and turned out wonderful like this, then this little corner here will do exactly the same. And just have a look at the lovely aspen trees with their yellow colour coming out. The rowan tree or mountain ash has lost nearly all of its leaves already here and has a few berries. And that is really about it. I think I can call this a good day's work. I'm really pleased with this. So, a little bit of video to show how the bonfire is going in Bonfire Garden, and the wood we're burning, and the Japanese knotweed we're burning up, and it's all going so well today. Look at this, completely perfect. There's no breeze, there's no wind, and the bonfire looks amazing in Bonfire Garden. Who doesn't love a bonfire? So, I really hope you enjoyed seeing my new border and how everything's turned out. And, well, you're going to have to be patient and wait until next spring to see how it really looks when the bush starts bushing out again, lovely and green all over. And I've put some geraniums around the bottom of the border, and the grass has grown out right up to the edge of the new border, and it all looks beautiful. But until then, I just want to say thank you very much once again for watching Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.